Okay, writers, hey, are you ready for our sacred writing time today? We always do a different writing prompt for sacred writing time. And yesterday we wrote about all kinds of things that we love. And those are great topics for us to have kind of in our back pocket when we're ready to start doing some writing. Sometimes that's a writing prompt. We like to do something a little bit silly though, and we find super silly pictures and then we write about them. This helps especially on a day if you can't think of something to write about. You find a silly picture and you write a story to go with it. Let's look at a silly picture together today. Are you ready? Well, what'd you think? Did you see that really silly elephant picture? I have it here, I'm looking at it too, and it looks like elephants, around like a fancy dinner table. A whole bunch of them. What did you think when you saw that picture? I'm gonna show you an example of what it's like to look at a silly picture and then do some writing. I'm gonna use my paper up here, but you'll use whatever paper you have for your writing time today. I'm just using mine up here so that you can see it a little better. I'm gonna move you a little closer to writers so you can really see my writing. I'm gonna write a crazy story about those elephants at the dinner. This one's gonna be made up, of course, which means it's a fiction story. Here we go, I'm gonna plan a little bit out first. Elephants. I'm gonna plan my title. Elephants come for dinner. Are you ready? It's gonna be a little bit silly. Here we go. Elephants come for dinner. And remember, if you are writing and you don't know how to spell a word, should you stop or keep going? That's right, keep going, writers. Okay, there's my title. Elephants come for dinner. One sunny day, as I was out for a walk with my family. We heard something strange. I like to pause and reread every now and then and make sure my writing makes sense so far. Elephants come for dinner. One sunny day as I was out for a walk with my family, we heard something strange. It sounded, I'm going to put a comma here and say, my mom said, like a herd of, whoops, I spelled that wrong. Here we go, I'm gonna cross it out and keep going. That's what real writers do. A herd of elephants. And I'm gonna keep writing because for sacred writing time, I try to write for 5 minutes, remember? I pause every once in a while and reread what I have so far. I totally make mistakes and I just crossed off and I keep going. That's what real writers do so that we don't have to start all over. Writers make mistakes and they keep writing. I'm gonna keep going and write a very silly story about those elephants. We'll put that elephant picture back up for you. I'm wondering what kind of silly story you might come up with to go with that. Okay, writers, are you ready for your sacred writing time? Get your paper ready, look at your silly picture, get your writing utensil, and 5 minutes. See if you can write the whole time. Ready, set, write. writers. Hey, remember when earlier I was packing away my snow gear? Must have forgot that one. I've been putting snow gear away because it's starting to get warmer where I live. In spring, it's turning into a little bit of warmer weather. Hey, what's the weather like where you live? I'm wondering, can you tell me, do like a whisper shout. What's the weather like at your house? Really? I heard some of you say that the weather's starting to get warmer where you live too. And some of you said it's still pretty chilly where you are. Maybe even it's really warm all the time. It's so interesting, isn't it? Hey, you maybe guessed it, but we're gonna talk about weather in just a little bit with our writing today. But before we do that, let's review what a personal narrative is. Do you remember in our last writing lesson when we wrote personal narratives? We took a lot of these great ideas that we wrote inside our heart and things that we cared about and we loved, and we chose one and we wrote a personal narrative. Now remember, a personal narrative is three things. It's a story that is about us. It's true, right? It already happened, so it happened in the past. And what's that last one? Do you remember? Oh, it's a story that we can tell in order. So just for fun, I'm going to tell you some examples, and I want you to whisper yell yes or no if it's a personal narrative. Are you ready? Okay, what if I told a story and I just was writing all kinds of facts about birds? Is that a personal narrative? Yes or no? You're right, no, it's not, because that sounds like a nonfiction book, not a story about me. Here's another example. Next week, I'm going to visit my cousin, and I'm so excited about it. We are going to have so much fun. I think I'll write all about the things that we'll do together. Is that a personal narrative? Nope, it's not a personal narrative because I didn't visit my cousin yet. It is a very exciting thing I could write about, but it's not a personal narrative because a personal narrative, remember, already happened. Today we're going to try to write another personal narrative, and you can choose to start a brand new one like I'm going to do, or you can even choose to get out your story from our last writing lesson and add more. That is something that real writers do a lot. You don't always have to start a new piece of writing. You can pull out a piece of writing that you've already been working on and add to it or change it up. So I do have my story here that I wrote about my cat, Pete. Do you remember that one? About the bath paint, when he took his little cat paws and he got paint all over the place? That was a silly story, and I might add to that one later. But I think I'm gonna come up with a new story today. What do you think you'd like to do? Are you going to write a new story or add to a story that you have already started? Either one is okay. Hey, maybe you want to keep your writing. Remember we talked about keeping it all together in one special spot? You might even want to keep it in two piles. Maybe one pile that you think is totally finished and one pile that you think, I want to go back and add to that writing. We call it a green and red pile with our writing. The green pile, I want to keep going back to and add more. And the red pile, I feel like it's done and it's finished. Although we do have that saying around here at Literacy Camp that writers are never finished. You got it. Writers are never finished. You can always add more. But it's up to you, writer. Today, choose. Do you want to start a new story or add to one that you already have? Get your writing ready. Get your writing utensil ready. And then let's jump into our writing lesson today. Hey, writers. I'm ready to start writing. Are you? Hey, let's do a silent cheer before we begin, just to get the excitement going. Let me see your best silent cheer. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was a really good one. I hope you were silent cheering right along with me. Hey, today when we start writing, we're gonna do that personal narrative like we talked about. And so I've been thinking about what personal narrative I might like to write today. And winter's just ending around here at my house. And so I've been thinking about this one time when it snowed this year a lot. And I think I'm gonna write about that today. I started thinking about this one time. Oh, and I remember I was wearing my hat. I was wearing my hat. Oh yes, definitely my winter hat because it was really chilly and there was so much snow. Oh, I think I was also wearing my my neck warmer. Ooh, this nice, warm, and cozy one. It keeps me nice and warm. It's kind of like a scarf, but I can pull it all the way up. Oh, I wouldn't have been outside like this. I for sure was also wearing my snow pants. I was definitely wearing my snow pants too. Ooh, these snow pants keep me nice and warm. Oh, it was snowing so much that day, the snow just kept coming down. I think I might have also been wearing my ski goggles. This really helps me out to not get the snow in my eyes. Yes, oh, and my coat. I better go get my coat too, but I had all my snow gear on. I definitely remember that day now. I'm picturing all the details and I'm ready to write about it. Are you ready to write today too, writers? Better get out of this snow gear so I can do a little better writing. What do you think? Hey, writers. Hey, once I got my snow gear put away, I got started with my writing a little bit and I wanted to show you. Before I wrote my story today, my personal narrative, remember the one about playing in the snow? I started brainstorming, right? And so that's what good writers do when they're ready to write a story. They start thinking about, oh, I have an idea, right? Have you ever done that before? You think about all your ideas before you pick one. And then once you've thought of an idea, you start thinking about details, just like I did. I started thinking about what I was wearing and how much snow was coming down. I thought about it in such detail, I found myself wearing all my snow stuff. So good writers think of an idea, they might brainstorm or think for a little while, then they start thinking of all the details that happened with that idea, and now they're ready to write. But I want to teach you 2 more things today, writers. Are you ready? 2 more things. Sometimes good writers, they start their writing with the weather. You don't always have to do this, but it's an interesting idea that a lot of writers do. And I want to show you a couple ideas of ways that you might be able to start your writing with weather. Ready? If I started my story, the one I was thinking of where I was playing in the snow and there was so much snow, I might start my story like this. One snowy day. One snowy day. I think I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. Maybe you're not writing about snow. Maybe you're thinking of a different story where it was really sunny. And so you might start your writing with weather like this. One bright and sunny morning. Doesn't that sound like a really great story beginning? One bright and sunny morning, I went playing with my friends at the park. Ooh, one bright and sunny morning, I was surprised when the mailman came with a package. One bright and sunny morning, my cat hopped onto the kitchen table. Your story could be about anything, but starting it with the weather, it's called an interesting lead, and it's a writing strategy that a lot of real writers do. You want to hear another one? You could start your story like this. Once, as the rain poured down. Ooh, doesn't that leave you wondering what's going to happen next as the rain poured down? Ooh, or listen to this one. On a dark and stormy night. Ooh, I'm wondering what's gonna happen on that dark and stormy night. Something silly? Ooh, all of those leads make me want to hear the rest of the story, right? Does that happen for you? Using weather at the beginning of your story is a way to draw your readers in. It's a writing strategy that real writers use. Let me read this for you one more time. And you can use any of these, or you could totally come up with your own writers, okay? One snowy day. One bright and sunny morning. Once as the rain poured down. On a dark and stormy night. Those are all interesting leads that you could try out with your writing today. One more thing, writers, that I want to tell you about. Because good writers try out different leads. Sometimes, instead of the weather, they might try out sound words at the beginning. So if it was that snowy day story that I was brainstorming, maybe I would start my story like this. Plop. 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 And I'm thinking of the big piles of snow that were falling off our roof. Plop, plop, plop. Maybe if I were writing about that one bright and sunny morning, when the mailman came, maybe it would sound like this. Instead of that, it might go, vroom. I heard somebody pull up outside our house. Get it? I used a sound word at the beginning. Or maybe if it was this rainy story, I might write some words, maybe like this. Pitter, patter. Pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter. The rain kept pouring down. Doesn't that sound like a really interesting beginning to our story? What we want you to learn today, writers at the Literacy Camp, is that real writers, they try out different things in their writing and they use different writing strategies. And today you might choose to start your story with the weather, or you might choose to put some sound words in your writing, like plop, 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 or pitter, patter, pitter, patter. What do you think you might try out? Do you know what you're going to write about today? Okay, I want you to think about it for just 1 minute. Ready? Think. What's your writing topic? Do you have it? Okay, whisper it. Ready? Go. Okay, great. And now think about which writing strategy do you think you'll try? Do you think you might try out writing with the weather? Or maybe will you try out some sound words in your writing? Weather or sounds? Maybe both. What do you think? Whisper it out. Go. Great. Writers, you have a writing idea and a writing strategy that you are ready to try. This is what you'll do next. Get your writing materials, get cozy wherever you are, and be ready to start writing. Remember that writers are never finished. Remember, it's okay for writers to make mistakes, cross it off, and just keep going. Get your ideas on the paper and write for as long as you can, writers. Keep going. I'm cheering you on. Ready, set, write. Okay, writers, if you have finished writing, you can go ahead and take your writing, put it somewhere special. Remember, we keep our writing in a special place so that you can add more to it later or change it up or share it with someone special. You might choose to keep your writing in a green pile and a red pile, a pile that you want to go back and add more to, or a pile that you think you might be done with. And then it's time to move on to our next lesson, but we're gonna keep writing more tomorrow, writers. See you in the next lesson.